Did you know one of the world's oldest rivers cuts through West Virginia? So ancient it is older than the mountains themselves? This is the only state entirely inside the Appalachian Mountains, home to ancient burial mounds shaped like pyramids, silent space telescopes that ban cell signals, and geography so extreme it creates natural ice in summer. But just like that ancient river carving deeper with every mile, these details only hint at what lies beneath. Here are 35 wild facts about West Virginia that will completely change how you see the 35th state. Number 35. New River Gorge. The New River Gorge is the deepest river gorge east of the Mississippi, cut over millions of years into ancient rock and reaching depths of up to 1,000 feet or more in places. This huge canyon, now part of America's newest national park, reveals layers of Earth's history and offers amazing views that show how one steady river beat rising mountains. Number 34. Discovering ancient pyramids in Moundsville. The Grave Creek Mound in Moundsville, built by the Adena people, was originally nearly 70 feet tall, though it stands at approximately 62 feet today because of erosion and excavation. It remains an ancient pyramid and a humbling reminder that while we focus on salt and coal, an entire civilization was building massive monuments in these valleys 2,000 years ago. Number 33. Growing the famous Golden Delicious Apple. While the Adena people were burying history in the soil of Moundsville, the earth was preparing a much sweeter surprise in Clay County. In 1905, a farmer noticed a single chance seedling growing fruit that tasted like honey. This was not a lab-grown hybrid. It was the Golden Delicious Apple. It proves that whether it is ancient monuments or world-famous fruit, the West Virginia soil has a habit of producing things you cannot find anywhere else. Number 32. Canaan Valley, the highest valley east of the Mississippi. Canaan Valley in Tucker County averages around 3,200 feet in elevation across an area of 14,000 acres. This large highland features rare wetlands and red spruce forests that look like northern Canada, all held between towering ridges, creating a unique northern world in the heart of the southern Appalachians. From the ancient mounds of the Adena to these Ice Age relic valleys, West Virginia has always been a place where the earth makes unexpected worlds. Number 31. Highest point in the entire Allegheny Mountains. Spruce Knob is not just West Virginia's tallest peak, at 4,863 feet. It is the highest peak in the entire Allegheny Mountains range, which stretches across Pennsylvania, Maryland, and West Virginia. This windy spot is topped with a lookout tower that offers 360-degree views of rolling, misty ridges. It supports rare red spruce forests and trees twisted by constant, high winds, leftovers of Ice Age conditions that make this southern mountain peak feel like a piece of northern wilderness, far from the Canadian border. This mountain-born independence is why West Virginia exists. It is the only state to form by splitting away from a Confederate state. While the rest of Virginia voted to join the South, the mountain counties refused. They staged their own breakup. On June 20th, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln officially signed the paper, making West Virginia the 35th state. It is a state literally defined by the act of saying no to the way things were, a rugged, independent, and bold piece of America that has been making its own rules ever since. Number 29. One of the most forested states with vast continuous woodlands. Nearly 80% of West Virginia is covered in forests, making it one of the most forested states in the U.S. The Monongahela National Forest alone covers nearly 1 million acres across 10 counties, forming one of the largest unbroken forest areas in the East, and wrapping the rugged land in a sea of green that supports many types of life. Number 28. 2 panhandles make it unique. West Virginia is the only state in the United States with 2 panhandles. A narrow northern panhandle is squeezed between Ohio and Pennsylvania, and an eastern panhandle reaches out toward Maryland and Virginia. These odd parts, shaped by rivers and ridges, give the state one of the most uneven borders in the nation and create unique geographic fingers that reach into nearby areas. Number 27. Listening to space from Green Bank. Beyond its unique shape on the map, the state serves as a silent window to the stars. West Virginia is home to the Green Bank Observatory, established in 1956 as the very first national astronomy observatory in the United States. Located in a radio quiet zone, this is where the first radio recombination line was discovered in 1965. A massive breakthrough for understanding the gases between stars. Because the telescopes are so sensitive, the surrounding area has strict limits on cell service and Wi-Fi to prevent interference. It is a place where scientific silence allows us to hear the whispers of the universe, proving that West Virginia's mountains aren't just for hiking, they are windows into deep space. Number 26. Building a world record suspension bridge. Long before the sales tax, West Virginia was leading the world in building. The Wheeling Suspension Bridge, completed in 1849, was the longest suspension bridge in the world at the time it was built. It was a key link for the National Road, the first major improved highway in the United States built by the federal government. This bridge was not just a way to cross the Ohio River. It was a symbol of American growth, proving that the rugged land of the West could be conquered by genius and steel. Number 25. More waterfalls than almost any other state east of the Mississippi. West Virginia has hundreds of waterfalls, thanks to its steep, broken land, plentiful rain, and many streams plunging over ridges and cliffs. From the famous 57-foot drop at Blackwater Falls to the wide, roaring stretch of Sandstone Falls, one of the widest east of the Mississippi, these hidden gems turn every hollow into a watery wonder, proving the mountains hide sudden drops at every turn. Number 24. Hosting a fair older than the state. The same water that flows over these falls has witnessed a culture that predates the state's very existence. The State Fair of West Virginia in Lewisburg is a massive event, attracting 160,000 visitors annually. But here is the wild part. The fair actually started in 1854, nearly a decade before West Virginia became a state. It began as a regional farm show in Virginia, and it simply kept going through the Civil War and the state's split. It is older than the laws, the borders, and the very government that now hosts it. A permanent part of a region that has seen nothing but change for 170 years. Number 23. West Virginia stands alone as the only United States state completely located within the Appalachian Mountain Range. There are no flat plains or coastal lowlands here. This makes it the true heart of Appalachia, with its entire 24,000-plus square miles shaped by ancient raised ridges, deep valleys, and broken plateaus that define the rugged mountain state identity. Number 22. Dramatic Tuscarora Quartzite Formation. Rising nearly 900 feet above the North Fork Valley in Pendleton County, Seneca Rocks is one of the most famous landforms in the East. A tall, white-gray wall of hard rock that stayed while softer rocks around it wore away. This blade-like ridge, popular for rock climbing, shows how different levels of wear shaped West Virginia's famous rugged peaks and valleys. While peaks like Seneca Rocks dominate the skyline, the state's early power came from deep underground. Long before coal was king, West Virginia's economy was powered by salt. In the late 1700s, the Kanawha Valley became the center of a massive salt business. They did not mine it from rocks. They tapped ancient, underground briny seas left behind millions of years ago. At its peak, it was the largest salt-producing region in the country. This reminds us that the mountain state has always been defined by what lies beneath it. First salt, then coal, each shaping the lives of the people above. While the salt industry tapped into dead, ancient seas underground, the mountains of Pocahontas County are doing the opposite. They are breathing life into the entire eastern U.S. Known as the birthplace of rivers, this single county contains the headwaters for 8 major rivers. This means the water flowing through the Mississippi and the Chesapeake Bay often starts as a tiny, cold spring high in a West Virginia forest. Number 19. The ancient north-flowing New River. Long before any families claimed the valleys, the New River, one of the world's oldest rivers, estimated to be between 260 and 360 million years old, carved its path northward through the rising Appalachians, defying the usual south-flowing pattern of eastern waterways. This ancient river, older than the mountains it slices, creates the deepest gorge east of the Mississippi and some of the state's most dramatic scenery. It reminds us that West Virginia's landscape holds geological secrets millions of years old, where rivers predate and sculpt the very peaks around them. These ancient rivers are fed by weather patterns that can turn the Highlands into a winter wilderness. The Allegheny Highlands see some of the heaviest snowfall in the east, with places like Snowshoe averaging up to 180 inches a year because the mountains push the air upward. This creates deep winter snow that keeps unique high-elevation areas alive, while lower valleys get far less, showing the state's wild local weather changes over short distances. That extreme snowfall only happens because West Virginia's land reaches for the sky so aggressively. The state packs a massive vertical punch. The highest point, Spruce Knob, reaches 4,863 feet, while the lowest point, Harper's Ferry, sits at only 240 feet. That is a 4,600-foot drop within such a small state, and it is why you can stand in a blooming spring valley and look up at a mountain peak still buried in 3 feet of snow. Number 16. Ending Confederate control at Droop Mountain. The same stubborn independence that defined the state's birth led to a violent confrontation on this mountain peak. This was the Battle of Droop Mountain in 1863, a major Union victory that effectively ended Confederate control in West Virginia and ensured it would remain a distinct entity. Number 15. Among the cloudiest states with extreme foggy valleys. Even as the political future was being settled on sunlit peaks, the valleys were often lost in a thick mountain mist. West Virginia ranks as one of the cloudiest states in the nation, with places like Elkins and Beckley averaging over 210 cloudy days per year. Thick valley fogs are especially common in areas like the Tygart Valley and the Kanawha section, where moist air gets trapped by surrounding ridges, creating constant low clouds and mist that cover the deep hollows and give the mountains a spooky, otherworld feel. Number 14. Naming the state Kanawha. This misty, rugged identity is why the state was inches away from being named Kanawha, after the Native American tribe and the major river that flows through the region. The founders ultimately chose West Virginia to keep a historical link to their past. Number 13. Witnessing 500 years of forest history. Speaking of things that reach for the sky, Webster Springs was once home to the largest sycamore tree in the world. This ancient giant was over 500 years old, meaning it was a sapling before Columbus ever set sail for the Americas. Unfortunately, the tree finally died and fell in 2010. Much like the global names of its towns, this sycamore was a living reminder to the sheer scale and age of the Appalachian wilderness, a reminder that before the coal mines and the cities, these mountains belonged to the ancient forest. Number 12. More than 100 named mountain ranges. This 500-year-old giant was just one small part of a geographic puzzle made up of more than 100 different named mountain ranges. The state includes a maze of side-by-side ridges and deep valleys, and that combination makes West Virginia one of the most complex states in the East. Number 11. Jagged borders shaped by rivers and ridges. This maze of mountains is exactly why West Virginia has some of the most jagged borders in the country. Across its eastern region, West Virginia has one of the most irregular state borders, stretching over 1,170 miles, with 52% traced by winding rivers, such as the Ohio River and the Potomac River, 31% along mountain crests, and the rest straight survey lines. This jagged outline, sculpted by natural features over centuries, turns the state into a geographic mosaic, where rivers and ridges literally carve out its shape and identity. Number 10. One of the least tornado-prone states east of the Rocky Mountains. Despite its big weather differences, West Virginia is one of the states least likely to have tornadoes east of the Rocky Mountains. The rugged land and mountain walls break up the conditions needed for large twisters, resulting in far fewer and usually weaker tornadoes compared to nearby flat states, proving that the same mountains that bring heavy snow and rain also protect the valleys from spinning storms. Number 9. a natural perpetual freezer in the Appalachians. While the mountains block the wind, they also trap pockets of prehistoric cold. In Hampshire County, Ice Mountain has a unique rock slope where cold air sinks into boulder fields, creating ice even in summer. It acts like a natural refrigerator, and it once provided ice to local towns. This rare Ice Age feature supports unique cold-loving plants, and it is one of the East's most unusual small weather areas amid the warmer valleys. Number 8. One of the highest concentrations of large cave systems in the East. While Ice Mountain traps cold on the surface, the ground beneath is hollowed out by 4,000 caves. West Virginia has over 4,000 recorded caves, one of the highest numbers in the eastern U.S., and several rank among the nation's longest. Friar's Hole has 45 miles mapped, and Organ Cave has 40 miles. Formed in large limestone areas of the Greenbrier and Pocahontas regions, these hidden networks feature miles of passages, underground streams, and massive rooms, revealing a world below ground as big and as complex as the mountains above. Number 7. Dense sinkhole plains in the Greenbrier Karst. The Greenbrier Valley has one of the East's most developed rock landscapes, with large sinkhole plains where towns like Lewisburg sit partly inside groups of sinkholes. Water disappears into underground paths, creating sinking streams and massive cave systems that send rain deep below the surface, before coming back up at huge springs. It is a hidden world below ground that makes the region feel like Swiss cheese on a grand scale. Number 6. One of the dense sinkhole plains on Earth. This Swiss cheese effect reaches its extreme in the southeastern part of the state. Monroe County in southeastern West Virginia has some of the world's thickest sinkhole areas, averaging up to 18 sinkholes per square kilometer in its large rock landscape. Formed in ancient rocks, this Swiss cheese land features hundreds of caves, sinking streams, and massive underground drainage systems. Those systems make it a world-famous spot for rock study, proving West Virginia hides entire lost worlds just beneath its rolling green hills. Number 5. Extreme precipitation. Divide along the Allegheny Front. The Allegheny Front forces air upward, drenching the western highlands in rain, while leaving the eastern valleys in a dry rain shadow that receives less than half the moisture. This rugged dividing wall of rock did not just separate weather patterns, it separated people. And it helped to create a fierce sense of mountain independence that nearly changed the map of America. Number 4. Attempting to create Westsylvania. Long before the Civil War split the state, there was an even earlier attempt to break away. In 1776, settlers proposed a 14th colony called Westsylvania, which would have included parts of present-day West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. They felt the distant governments in Virginia and Pennsylvania did not understand the rugged mountain life. The Continental Congress ignored the request, but the dream of an independent mountain state never truly died. It was simply waiting for the right moment in history to resurface. Number 3. Home to ancient geological layers from a shallow sea. This natural divide was formed from layers laid down long before the first mountains rose. West Virginia's ground tells a story of ancient oceans. By the end of the Cambrian period, a shallow sea covered the entire area, leaving behind sea mud that formed much of the state's limestone and other rocks. Later, during the Carboniferous, sea levels rose and fell again and again, leaving the rich layers that now define the rugged plateaus and ridges, leftovers of vanished seas that were there before the Appalachians themselves. Number 2. Exceptionally high mean elevation east of the Mississippi. This ancient seafloor was pushed up so high that West Virginia now sits above its neighbors. West Virginia has one of the highest average elevations east of the Mississippi, averaging around 1,500 feet across rugged plateau and ridge-filled land. That steady high ground shapes cooler weather, thick forests, and dramatic elevation changes, and it sets the state apart from flatter eastern neighbors even though they share the same mountain roots. Number 1. Spruce Knob, the state's alpine crown. Elevation extremes in West Virginia reach their pinnacle at Spruce Knob, the highest point in the state, 4,863 feet atop Spruce Mountain in the Alleghenies. This windswept summit, with its gnarled Krumholtz spruce trees and panoramic views of misty ridges, feels like an alpine island in the southern Appalachians, complete with boreal forest remnants from the Ice Age. It reflects how these mountains create pocket worlds of cool, high-country climate amid lower valleys, bridging sky-high isolation and deep forested